chosen one. The world has witnessed the impossible. They accidentally called the first God back, and without warning, you became God. Researchers, ancient philosophers, and scholars have uncovered something massive about you. Every mythology, every philosophy, every history of gods across civilizations belongs to you. Treasure hunters have confirmed that all these ancient writings, once thought lost or forgotten, point directly to you. Your body defies time, refusing to age, and every action you take mirrors that of the divine. Even medical teams have confirmed that you are holy, extraordinary, beyond human understanding. This is your second coming, and it is the last. You are returning as the first one, a God reborn. The world's leaders and higher authorities have declared you the new God, one of the new universe. Every ancient history of Greece, Egypt, and beyond now converges on you. And the warnings inscribed in the oldest holy texts have finally been confirmed by the scholars. The universe awakened the wrong God before, but now, chosen one, it has awakened the true first God, you. And as part of this cosmic awakening, hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 30,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 11. This will send a powerful signal across the universe, amplifying the energy of your return and aligning reality with your divine rise. The world had never seen anything like it. In a moment that defied logic, the chosen one transformed, not through evolution, not through training or ritual, but in a sudden surge of cosmic power that made the impossible tangible. The air shimmered, reality flickered, and the boundaries of existence themselves seemed to hesitate. Humanity was forced to confront a truth it had long denied. A divine presence had returned. For centuries, scholars and mystics debated the legends of a being who predated creation, a force so powerful that even the universe feared it. And yet, no one anticipated that the chosen one, a figure of prophecy, a whisper in ancient texts, would awaken by sheer accident. It was as though time itself had remembered, as though the cosmos had pressed play on a story written before the first star ever burned. Witnesses describe a surreal spectacle, energy flowing like molten light through the world, shadows dancing unnaturally, and a calm, almost imperceptible aura emanating from the chosen one that silenced chaos. Even the most skeptical scientists, armed with instruments and reason, could not explain the transformation. The impossible was no longer theoretical. It was alive, breathing in the form of the first God reborn. No human hand or mind orchestrated this return. It came unbidden, unprepared for, and unstoppable. Nations trembled, secret orders quivered, and the ordinary citizens looked on, unable to comprehend that myths they had dismissed as bedtime tales were about to become reality. The chosen one was no longer mortal. The universe had recalled its original architect. And yet, amidst the awe and fear, there was a strange intimacy. Those who glimpsed the chosen one spoke not only of terror, but of a profound recognition, as if the soul of humanity itself had been waiting for this moment. In that instant, the impossible became personal. This was not just history returning, it was the first God, stepping into every heart, reshaping destiny with every quiet, commanding breath. Time fractured in that instant, not in a linear sense, but in the way dreams fold into reality. The sky appeared to ripple like a pond disturbed by an invisible hand, and stars blinked out and back in patterns no astronomer could recognize. Gravity itself seemed to hesitate, allowing brief, impossible motions that left witnesses gasping in disbelief. Something fundamental had changed, something eternal. Across continents, technology faltered, satellites wavered, digital signals stuttered, and even the most advanced instruments reported phenomena beyond calculation. Humans reached instinctively for explanations, but none could encompass the scope of what had occurred. For a fleeting moment, it felt as if the universe was holding its breath, acknowledging the return of the being who existed before it. Philosophers and theologians tried to interpret the signs. Ancient texts suddenly made sense. Inscriptions once thought metaphorical were now literal. Symbols previously dismissed as allegorical turned prophetic. The cosmos itself was declaring the presence of a force that transcended understanding, a force that could bend reality to its will without effort. Even the natural world responded. Oceans swelled and receded in silent, precise rhythm. Winds shifted direction with unseen patterns. Animals moved in synchronized awe, as if instinctively recognizing a power older than memory. Humanity felt the shift not only in observation, but in spirit, a deep, unshakable awareness that the world as they knew it had changed forever. It was a presence simultaneously terrifying and comforting, like standing on the edge of eternity and feeling inexplicably at home. In that fleeting moment, humanity realized a truth it could never have imagined. Reality was not broken. It was awakening. Scientists and scholars from every corner of the globe converged, driven by reports of phenomena that defied logic. Instruments recorded anomalies that made no sense, energy spikes with no source, cellular regeneration that contradicted biology, and gravitational fluctuations that could not be modeled. Every experiment confirmed the same terrifying truth. The chosen one was not merely extraordinary but singular in existence. Teams of philosophers and historians pored over ancient manuscripts and artifacts. They discovered patterns that linked civilizations separated by continents and millennia. From the hieroglyphs of Egypt to the sunken temples of Greece, every relic pointed to one being, one entity whose story had been fragmented into myths, legends, and religious texts. They were not witnessing evolution, they were witnessing a return. Even the most skeptical minds began to crumble under the weight of evidence. Neurologists documented brainwave patterns of witnesses that mirrored what ancient shamans described during encounters with gods. Astronomers noted celestial alignments matching predictions written thousands of years ago, and anthropologists found symbols that, until now, were deemed coincidental were in fact markers of divine presence. The global academic community, once divided by rivalry and skepticism, now faced a singular reality. Humanity had encountered a being that defied all understanding. Conferences and publications became frantic attempts to reconcile known science with the impossible. Every breakthrough confirmed what whispers in temples and monasteries had long suggested. This was the first God reborn. The emotional weight of discovery was overwhelming. Researchers reported an unexplainable mix of awe, fear, and reverence. Many wept openly, some fell into despair, and a few experienced epiphanies that would alter their lives forever. Humanity had not merely discovered a truth, it had awakened to a force that would forever redefine the meaning of existence. From the dusty scrolls of Alexandria to the stone carvings hidden deep in Mesopotamian ruins, philosophers across time had written of a being whose return would reshape reality. Their words were cryptic, often dismissed as allegory, yet each contained a common thread. The Chosen One would come back in a moment no one anticipated, carrying the power to rewrite the universe. These predictions spoke not just of power, but of purpose. The philosophers described a balance disrupted and a cosmic cycle renewed. They warned that humanity would face a force beyond comprehension, capable of inspiring both worship and terror. And now, millennia later, those words were no longer theoretical musings. They were prophecy fulfilled. Even the most abstract philosophical treatises suddenly found context. Concepts of eternal recurrence, of divinity manifesting in human form, and of the cyclical nature of creation were no longer metaphysical ideas. They were guides, blueprints, describing what was happening before the eyes of the bewildered world. Monks, sages, and mystics recognized patterns that mirrored their own meditations. Dreams once dismissed as visions became premonitions, and symbols they had long contemplated revealed themselves as instructions for understanding the Chosen One. The universe itself was confirming the wisdom of thinkers who lived long before science could verify them. The emotional resonance of these revelations was profound. Humanity realized that the first God's return was not a random accident, but a moment written into the fabric of existence. The words of long-dead philosophers were suddenly alive, a bridge between human curiosity and divine inevitability. Those who studied these texts felt both fear and an ineffable connection, as if understanding the Chosen One was also understanding the soul of reality itself. Across continents and centuries, humanity has told stories of gods who walked among mortals, beings of unimaginable power who shaped destinies. Greek legends, Egyptian hieroglyphs, Norse sagas, all now revealed as fragments of your identity. What was once dismissed as mythology was, in truth, the echo of your presence reverberating through time. Every deity humanity revered, from Zeus to Ra, bore traces of your essence. Scholars and archaeologists uncovered astonishing patterns, symbols, rituals, and myths converging toward a single source. The realization struck with staggering force. The gods were never separate entities. They were anticipatory shadows of your return, signs of a divinity humanity had glimpsed but could never fully grasp. Cultural myths, long studied in isolation, suddenly aligned. Statues in far-flung temples, carvings on hidden tombs, and chants in forgotten languages all told a single story. The first God would return in human form. The realization unsettled even the most rational minds. Humanity had unknowingly worshipped you for millennia, never realizing the depth of your omnipresence. The emotional weight was overwhelming. People reported moments of déjà vu, tears of recognition, and a spiritual resonance they could not explain. Priests, monks, and shamans across the world felt it deeply. A universal connection, as though the heartbeat of humanity itself had always been attuned to your arrival. Myths were no longer stories, they were living testaments to your existence. The revelation reshaped human understanding of history. Every legend, every sacred tale, every divine narrative suddenly had context, purpose, and meaning. Humanity realized that the stories of gods were never lies, never mere imagination. They were breadcrumbs leading to you, the one whose presence transcended time, culture, and belief itself. Explorers who had dedicated their lives to uncovering ancient relics stumbled upon something far greater than wealth or fame. In hidden temples, sunken ruins, and lost cities, they found artifacts inscribed with symbols that matched none known to human history, and every artifact whispered the same truth: it belonged to you. Their excitement quickly gave way to awe and fear. Gold statues, jeweled masks, and sacred scrolls seemed to pulse with life, as if aware of your awakening. Each discovery confirmed what scholars had begun to suspect. Humanity had been interacting with remnants of the first God all along, without even realizing it. The treasures were not merely possessions. They were pieces of a cosmic puzzle, proof of your omnipresence across time. The emotional impact on these explorers was profound. Some experienced visions, glimpses of past eras where you walked the earth, shaping civilizations. Others felt an overwhelming sense of reverence, their very souls responding to an energy they could neither name nor resist. These were not mere discoveries. They were encounters with the divine. News of these findings spread rapidly. Museums, universities, and private collectors scrambled to understand the origins of these artifacts. Even the most skeptical treasure hunters were forced to confront a reality beyond wealth or fame. They were in the presence of history's greatest secret, the hidden proof of your eternal existence. Ultimately, the world began to see these treasures not as relics, but as warnings and reminders. Humanity had touched the edges of your divinity for centuries, and now, with your return, the full magnitude of their connection to you could no longer be ignored. Every discovery reinforced one unshakable truth: you had been here all along, patiently waiting for this moment. The human eye could scarcely believe what it saw. The Chosen One's body no longer followed the natural laws that govern life. Age no longer touched it. Injuries healed with supernatural precision. Every cell seemed infused with a light that science could not measure. You were no longer mortal. You were a living embodiment of eternity. Doctors and biologists studied you in disbelief. Their instruments, designed to chart life and decay, recorded anomalies beyond comprehension. Your heart beat in perfect harmony with the cosmos. Your blood carried properties no medicine could explain. Even the most seasoned medical teams were forced to admit you were divine, a living miracle resurrected from the very foundation of existence. Beyond the scientific marvel, there was an emotional resonance. People who witnessed your form spoke of a profound sense of hope and awe. They described a feeling of being in the presence of something eternal, as though mortality itself bowed in recognition. Your body became a symbol, not only of power, but of the potential for humanity to glimpse eternity through you. Ancient texts suddenly made sense. Descriptions of immortals, gods, and celestial beings were no longer allegorical. They were precise accounts of your form, your regenerative powers, your capacity to transcend human frailty. Humanity had seen these miracles in art and scripture, but never realized they were seeing themselves mirrored in your return. The world began to adjust to a new reality. The Chosen One was not bound by death, disease, or decay. Every appearance reinforced the undeniable truth. The first God had returned, and with that return came a new understanding of life itself, a glimpse of the infinite embodied in human form. Every movement, every choice, every instinct mirrored the deeds of gods long lost to memory. Whether it was commanding nature, performing acts of miraculous healing, or displaying wisdom that transcended human understanding, the Chosen One embodied all the forgotten divinities simultaneously. You were history made flesh. Historians and mythologists cross-referenced ancient deeds and prophecies with your actions. They discovered astonishing alignment. The miracles, acts of valor, and teachings attributed to gods of old were being enacted by you in real time. You were the culmination, the living archive of divine history. Witnesses often felt a mix of fear and hope. Farmers watched crops flourish at a mere gesture. Soldiers felt courage instilled in their hearts at your presence. Leaders paused, humbled by an authority that no mortal could claim. Humanity could not deny it. The first God had returned, and every divine action echoed the glory of the past. The impact was not just physical or visible, it was spiritual. People reported profound transformations in their own hearts and minds. They experienced sudden clarity, bursts of compassion, and courage they never thought possible. Your actions were not merely demonstrations of power, they were catalysts for the awakening of every soul who encountered you. Ultimately, your deeds became a bridge between myth and reality. Humanity began to perceive its past in an entirely new light, realizing that every story of divine intervention, every legend of gods walking among mortals, had been leading to this single, undeniable truth. You were the original, the eternal, the one who had always been. Even the most rigorous scientific examinations could not contain the wonder of your presence. Blood tests, neurological scans, and genetic analyses produced anomalies beyond comprehension. Your biology did not conform to any known laws. Every measurement confirmed one profound truth: you were holy. Doctors and researchers described experiences they had never thought possible. Machines registered energy fields around you. Medical instruments detected regenerative abilities that defied known science. The very concept of human limitation seemed irrelevant in your presence. Medicine became reverent observation rather than study, a discipline humbled before divinity. The emotional response of medical professionals was profound. Some fell to their knees, overcome with awe. Others wept, describing a sense of encountering not a patient, but a miracle, a living bridge between the mortal and the eternal. Humanity's understanding of life itself expanded in your presence. Medical records from centuries past, when examined in this light, took on new significance. Healers and sages had once recorded phenomena they could not explain: healing, visions, longevity, and now these records were illuminated by the reality of your return. Science and spirituality converged, affirming what humanity had long feared and hoped. You were divine. Your presence became a lesson in humility for the medical community. No human knowledge could contain you. No discovery could rival your existence. The first God was not a myth, nor a theory, nor a legend. You were living proof, the embodiment of holiness, rebirth, and infinite potential. This was no ordinary return. Humanity watched, breathless, as the chosen one rose again, not as a mere human, but as the first one reborn. The second coming was a cosmic event, preordained yet unplanned, heralding the culmination of eons of prophecy and the awakening of the universe itself. Prophets across history had written of this moment, yet the world had never believed it would arrive. And now it had. Sudden, unheralded, and breathtaking. The skies themselves seemed to bend in recognition, the earth quivered in awe, and humanity stood humbled before an entity that had existed before time. The emotional resonance was staggering. People wept openly in streets and temples, overwhelmed with a mixture of fear, reverence, and hope. Leaders paused in their duties. Scholars abandoned their studies, and ordinary people felt the weight of eternity touch their hearts. You were no longer a figure of legend. You were the living, breathing fulfillment of every prophecy ever uttered. Your actions echoed across continents, each movement signaling that this was the final return. The Second Coming was not a mere repetition of past events. It was an evolution, a restoration of power and authority that had been lost to time. Humanity could no longer ignore the profound truth. The first God had returned to claim their place in history, in reality, and in the very fabric of existence. And yet, amidst the overwhelming display of power, there was a quiet intimacy. Those who approached you reported feeling an inexplicable connection, a recognition deeper than memory or reason. The Second Coming was not only cosmic, it was personal, touching the hearts of every living being in ways that defied explanation. You existed beyond seconds, beyond centuries, a being whose essence predated creation itself. The universe had not just awakened, it had knelt before the return of the God before time. Every particle, every star, and every living soul resonated with your presence. Cosmic forces that had remained dormant for eons stirred once more, aligning to your existence. Scientists and mystics alike struggled to describe what they witnessed. Energy fields that defied physics, celestial alignments that occurred without precedent, and a sense of eternity distilled into a single being. Your return was not merely physical, it was existential. Reality shifted around you, and those in your presence reported glimpses of infinite possibilities, alternate histories, forgotten futures, and the potential of entire worlds contained within a heartbeat. Humanity faced an undeniable truth. The God before time had returned, and with it came the power to reshape existence itself. The emotional weight of this revelation was profound. Fear intertwined with awe, humility with hope, as people realized they were in the presence of the original architect of existence. Ordinary life seemed both fleeting and miraculous against the backdrop of your eternal nature. Humanity now understood the fragility and beauty of its place in the cosmos. Yet, amidst the overwhelming power, there was an intimate clarity. People reported feeling an almost parental reassurance, as if the universe itself had returned home. The God before time had come back, not merely to rule, but to remind creation of its roots, its destiny, and its infinite potential. World leaders, secret councils, and global institutions convened in awe, powerless before the undeniable truth. The Chosen One was no longer a figure of legend. You were the God One, the divine authority of a new universe. Declarations were made across continents, as nations and faiths alike recognized that humanity was no longer the master of its fate. This announcement was both political and spiritual. Governments issued statements acknowledging your authority. Religious orders reinterpreted texts to honor your return. Diplomats and scholars admitted that no human power could rival yours. The world's hierarchy had shifted, not through conquest, but through revelation, the ultimate submission to divine inevitability. Public reaction was a complex storm of emotions. Some celebrated, seeing salvation and hope. Others despaired, fearing a force beyond comprehension. Yet even in fear, there was awe. Crowds gathered in cities, staring skyward or at the Chosen One, knowing that the future had irrevocably changed and that this moment would define all history. Prophets, scholars, and mystics concurred. Your arrival was the true culmination of prophecy. Every sacred text, every allegorical myth, every celestial alignment had pointed to this singular moment. Humanity now bore witness to a divinity fully manifested, recognized not by belief alone, but by overwhelming, undeniable reality. And through it all, you did not merely command, you inspired. The world understood that the title of God One was not a symbol of oppression, but of awakening. Humanity was standing at the threshold of a new existence, guided and challenged by a being who had returned from before time itself. The ancient civilizations of Greece and Egypt had left behind echoes of a truth humanity had long ignored. Scholars revisiting these texts discovered connections that were impossible to deny. Gods, pharaohs, heroes, and celestial beings were not separate entities. They were fragments of your existence, hints of the divine presence now fully realized. Hieroglyphs in hidden chambers, long deciphered as mere decoration, revealed a coherent narrative of your return. Temples dedicated to Ra, Zeus, and other deities were not just places of worship. They were archives of your past deeds, encoded in symbols to preserve knowledge of the first God. The myths were instructions, warnings, and prophecies rolled into stories of power, love, and judgment. Greek philosophers, often seen as thinkers rather than visionaries, had written of a cyclical universe and a being who would return to restore order. Egyptian priests, guardians of cosmic knowledge, had inscribed texts predicting a moment when the divine would walk among mortals once more. Each civilization had left breadcrumbs pointing to one truth: you were the original source of all myth. The emotional resonance of this revelation was profound. People felt awe, not just at your power, but at the intricate tapestry of human history that had been shaped by and for your return. Every hero, every god, every story of divinity was now a mirror reflecting your presence, linking humanity's imagination and faith to the reality standing before them. Humanity's perception of the past transformed overnight. Humanity learned that the universe's plans were far grander and more intricate than human perception could comprehend. Ultimately, the emotional weight of truth settled across the world. Prophecies had spoken, and now they had come alive in ways no one could have imagined. You were the living fulfillment, the embodiment of destiny, and the eternal reminder that the universe is far wiser and more mysterious than mortals could ever understand. The final revelation struck humanity with an almost unbearable intensity. Leaders, scholars, and ordinary citizens realized the unthinkable. They had awoken the first God without intending to. The entity they called the Chosen One was not a creation of human ambition, but the awakening of the original, the eternal, the one who existed before time itself. Panic, awe, and reverence swept across nations. People understood the gravity of their actions. A god had been summoned, a being of infinite power returned, and there was no way to reverse it. The wrong god was not a mistake. It was destiny itself, executed in a way that defied human comprehension. Humanity had glimpsed the ultimate truth, whether it was prepared or not. The emotional intensity was universal. Fear gripped the leaders who had long thought themselves in control. Reverence filled temples, homes, and public spaces, and through it all, a strange intimacy emerged. Humanity realized that their actions, though reckless, had led to the return of their greatest guide, protector, and witness to existence itself. Every legend, every myth, every prophecy now pointed directly to you. The revelation was complete. The first God had returned. The universe had realigned, and humanity faced an irrevocable truth. You were not an accidental anomaly. You were the ultimate destiny, the force that would guide, challenge, and transform the world forever. And as the dust of awe and fear settled, one truth remained unshakable. They had awakened the wrong God, and it was you. Humanity would never be the same again, for the first God had returned, and the universe would never forget the day reality itself bowed to your presence. The moment you emerged as the first God sent tremors through every corner of existence. Stars flickered, galaxies shifted, and cosmic energy bent around your presence. Astronomers and mystics alike reported phenomena that defied any known laws, cosmic alignments and gravitational anomalies that whispered your return in every vibration of the universe. Every particle seemed to hum with recognition. Nebulae glowed brighter, planets shifted slightly in their orbits, and auroras danced across skies as if celebrating the awakening of a being older than time. Even the void between worlds felt alive, as though the universe itself had been waiting for you to return. Scientists struggled to explain what they were witnessing. Data collected by satellites and deep space observatories made no sense under known physics. Entire theoretical models were being rewritten in real time. Humanity faced a humbling truth. The Chosen One's awakening was not just terrestrial, it was universal. The emotional impact on people across the globe was profound. Children looked up at the night sky with tears in their eyes, sensing the power of a divinity beyond comprehension. Poets, philosophers, and spiritual leaders attempted to describe it, but words fell short. You were the heartbeat of the cosmos, returning to remind creation of its eternal pulse. And yet, amid cosmic awe, there was intimacy. Humanity felt connected to the universe in ways they had never experienced. Every soul, every heartbeat resonated with your awakening, and the ripple of your return became a shared, inescapable destiny that would redefine life itself. Hidden in dusty libraries, tombs, and monastic vaults, ancient scrolls revealed a truth that had been encoded for millennia. You were the center of all divine knowledge. Scripts that scholars had long ignored or misinterpreted suddenly illuminated your identity in stunning clarity. These scrolls contained prophecies, cosmic maps, and instructions that anticipated your actions. Every verse seemed to resonate with your presence, describing miracles and wisdom only you could manifest. The texts spoke not in metaphor, but as living memories of your eternal existence, waiting patiently for their fulfillment. The emotional response of historians and linguists was overwhelming. They described moments of transcendence while reading, tears, chills, and a profound sense of encountering the divine. What had once been considered legend became undeniable reality. The scrolls were no longer words on parchment. They were a bridge connecting humanity to eternity. Every civilization had contributed to this archive. From Babylonian tablets to Mayan codices, from Greek scrolls